Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Dungeon Kart Unboxing. This is video part 2, where we're actually going to dive into each one of the components a little bit further. We're going to look at the dashboards, each racer and their special abilities, the spells, what each token does, all the different heroes, what all they do, and we're going to look at each one of the individual tracks. This one including all the stuff from the base set, as well as the silver and gold edition, which are basically just the enhanced levels or tiers they had during the Kickstarter campaign for this game. If you want to know more about how the game works or what stuff does, go back, check out part 1. There'll be a link in the description. I go over the basics of the rules, what the symbols on some of the boards and stuff mean, how the dashboards and stuff work, all that fun stuff. But now I just kind of want to actually dive into what each individual one does. So since the main part of a kart racing game is the karts, we're going to look at those first. So, I knocked over my easels. So yeah, what is neat is that all the karts, at first when I saw them, like, they're all the same exact karts, but they all have actually different things. So on the front of each one is going to list the name of it. So you have Meteor Crash, which is the orange kart. Some of these you can kind of see, like, oh, okay, with the name, maybe the color scheme, how they could match one of the other characters. Because like each character even has sometimes has color. Like, we have orange, we have Killa and King Croak. Like, they could be that. Or we have Belladonna and Portus that are purple. But it doesn't really matter. Any character can drive any kart. On the top here, we're also going to see the max and min MP, which is the same on the other side, which is going to differ from board to board. It's like, this one's 3, 4, 6, 9, 11, 12. This one is 3, 4, 6, and then it's 8, 9, 10. So they're all going to vary different. This is so your opponents can see how many movement points you have. On the front here, we also have 2 symbols, which are going to kind of show what their different abilities are. So if it has a little swervy road, it has handling. So turning costs 0 MP. If it has the wavy lines, it's traction. Drifting always costs 1 MP instead of the number of dots in the tile. If it has the weight, it is heavy. Bumping is now free. I don't know why this one costs 0 and this one's called free, but same thing. If it has the speedometer meter there, it says acceleration. The lower speeds are faster. So you can get up, so you can actually accelerate a little bit quicker. So for example, on one of those, we have like 5 and 7 instead of 6 and 4, so they get a little bit faster that way. If it has the tire, it's off-road. Certain terrains have less penalties. And then we have top speed. The higher speeds are faster. And that's where we have a 9, 11, and 12 instead of 8, 9, and 10. So some cars will be able to, like, jump off a little bit quicker. Some will be able to, once they get higher, they'll be able to go fastest. They're better on straight stretches. Some can turn corners quicker. Some can bump guys. It definitely sets that idea for your different, like, again, if you compare us again to, like, kart racing games, you usually have, like, the medium racer, like, and I'm going to compare us to Mario Kart for a moment. Like Mario, he's usually straight down the middle. You have Bowser, who's slower, doesn't have as high acceleration, but usually he has a higher top speed, like this guy. And he has a weight barrier, so usually he can hit someone harder, and once he gets going, he can move faster. Then we usually have smaller guys who are better at turning, and can go through different terrain and stuff better, or maybe they have a lower acceleration. So we're going to get some various stuff in here. So also if we flip this over, and we look at this side of it, so it's going to show top speed on that side. This side's going to show heavy, just as a reminder. And it's going to show all your different speeds on the top. Now, the symbols, as far as I know, for the most part, are going to be the same on every kart. Again, they might change because if they have the off-road ability, which again says certain terrains have less penalties, it might adjust some of them here and there. So yeah, you kind of gotta look at each card individually. And on the bottom, it's going to show your once per turn effects. Your drifting. If it has a little hexagon with the dot, it means it costs 1 point to drift per every dot in that tile. So if it has 2 dots, it costs 2. It has 3, it costs 3. Turning 60 degrees costs 1 MP. We flip our shifter over because I can't get these to stay right. I'll have to play around with pushing the little dots anymore. We have move, costs 1 per every dot on the board. And this guy's a heavy card, so he has bumping. So it doesn't cost anything for him. Our next car up is the... let's drop this one down. We have the Recycler Racer, which has... there's its stuff. I'm just going to flip them over right away. We can see what the LR has. Off-road and handling. So now we're back up to 1 for that. But our handling lets our MP be 0 instead of 1. And our off-road eliminates some of the stuff. So it moved grass into 8. Or it moved grass up into 8. And it got rid of dirt completely. So this card gives no penalty for driving on dirt. And it takes less of a penalty for driving on grass. So it's kind of fun that they're all just a little bit different. Alright, out of the rest of the dials, we're going to fly through these. We have the Carphagus. It's like sarcophagus. So this has a higher top speed. The 9, 10, 11. It also has handling, which makes it turning a little bit cheaper. We have the Centipede Crawler. So again, has your main stats, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Has traction, and so it does move some of this around, so we don't have that dirt and stuff. And then it's off-road. It has traction, which makes it, and your drifting only costs 1 MP instead of 1 per each tile. So you can drift into other tiles quicker. The Crushinator Cruiser, which is it's like top speed and heavy. Acceleration and heavy. So yeah, it gets some better acceleration right after that. It can bump for free. The Dark Ultra Rider, the white car, has it's like top speed and traction. So it's MP's drifting's easier and it can get higher. Is one of these cars better than the other? Nope, not necessarily. The Vault Runner, which is our black car. It's like off-road and heavy. So this one's definitely going to hit some off-road stuff and some heavy. You also notice he also has the dirt in a little bit different spot as well. Or no dirt on there. Just kind of interesting. Then the last of the core box ones is the Decapitator Dasher. This is our blue card. Blue car. So we have 8 racers, so you can play up to an 8-player game. It has acceleration and handling. Then if you have the silver tier, so on the front of the box I did show in the first video, had a big giant gold sticker. So gold had everything. Silver had a couple extra things. Again, they might sell these as separate packs in their web store, Brotherwise Games. I can't promise that though. This game is just being released now. I got, Kickstarter, so I did an early copy before it hits regular retails. So they might sell those as separate editions. I can't guarantee it. You might have to buy it as a full collection. But what they do have is they have one more race board. We have the Silver Slinger, so we get the silver car. It just gives us a different option. It gives us acceleration and traction. Cool. So those are our 9 different cars. Let's take a look at our racers. So we're going to have our racers. So on the back of the racers are just going to be a gold little symbol there. I'm going to grab a block here. Not gold symbol, gold back with the character card. We're going to drop that there quick. And then we have our little race cars, which are really fun. So they're little miniatures of the car, of the character. So it's printed primarily on one side. If you go to the other side, you can kind of see how it's not really on that side. And then it's King Croak on there, just as a identifier. The base is shaped like a car. There is a film on the one side that you're supposed to peel off, which I did not. You can kind of see how it's scratchy. That's because I have to peel off that picture. or that little film, but I did not do that. But alright, so there is our racer. I'm going to zoom in on these guys a little bit. I'll probably just set them up on the little block from now on rather than holding them all up. But we'll have each one there. So now, when you have your racer, you get to use its ability as long as you've collected coins. If you only use each ability once per turn, but you may use both if you have enough coins. The other thing we're going to get for each one is a little token for keeping track of which place they're in. So I'm not going to show each one of them, just a picture of their face on there. But King Croak, because after a kart racer, what's the next most important thing you also have is a racer. So he has boss mode, so you can pay 2 coins to gain 2 movement points, or pay 3 at the beginning of your turn, complete the set speed in additional time. So that's kind of neat. So he can go either down twice or up twice, or he could go down once and up once, or up one, down one. So he could stay at the same level if he wanted to, for whatever reason. That's pretty cool. Up next, we have Belladonna. So I gotta find her little racer. So there's Belladonna. And you kind of see they have, like, even the colored cars. She has the red one. She has the silver one, or the probably white one. But again, it doesn't matter. She has Vampiric Grace. Pay 2 to drift for 1 point. Or +1 drift for the movement point, so she can drift twice, essentially. Move up to 3 spaces in a straight line with only a single extra drift. Only pay the hex point for the final hex she enters. Ooh, so that's kind of fun. So she can either drift extra, or she can either get 1 extra drift, or she can move an extra drift even farther. That's pretty fun. Our third racer is Explodo. And they did have other guys in Magic for the set, so maybe they'll release them as a mini expansion or a bigger expansion. Be kind of neat. Bombastic Charm. For 2 coins, he gains 2 movement points. Or for 3, he can spin out all adjacent racers and destroy all adjacent hazards. That's kind of neat. So yeah, he can just explode and take everybody out at 1 point. We have Gorgana. Who has Petrifying Gaze. +1 turn for 1 MP. Ooh, she gains an additional turn. That's kind of neat. Turn as in she can turn her car, not that she gets an extra full set of movements. I was confused there. I thought that seemed really overpowered. Yeah, so she can rotate her car an extra turn. That's kind of fun. Very helpful. Or she can spin out a driver who is in a straight line away from you. Nice, so she's shooting straight forward, knocking them out. We have our Gorilla Killa. Who has Guerrilla Warfare, gain 2 MP. It seems to be a very common one. When bumping a racer, move them 2 hexes in a straight line, or backwards 1 hex. It only applies to 1 of your bumps this turn. Nice. So you get a little bit more advantage in how you move them. We have Porcus. Big old giant wings there. Who has Arcane Mastery. He gets 1 extra turn for 1 MP. And for his second one, he says, gain a spellbook if you don't already have a spellbook. So that's kind of cool, because now he could potentially spend coins to get spells rather than having to go out of his way on the track to try and hit one of those spellbooks. That's fun. We have Ravenous. The werewolf, or just maybe wolf, who is basically Ferocity. Pay 1 to drift for plus 1 extra drift, or he can crash an adjacent racers. Just automatically crash them. That's nuts. We have Cleopatra. I love their little bands are floating off the back. Pyramid Planning. I'm surprised I didn't call it Pyramid Steaming. That would have been funnier. She gets 1 extra turn for an MP. So switch the location of any 2 hazards on Cleopatra's tile. Ooh, that could be helpful. Because maybe one is a boost, right? You could put a boost in front of you instead of a thing, or maybe you could throw a wall in front of somebody, like move a gravestone or a crystal in place of like a zombie. Oh, a zombie's gonna stop them, but a wall is gonna be even harder because they hit a zombie or a hero. Yeah, they have to stop and they crash, but if they hit a wall, they have to actually then try and maneuver around it. That's kind of interesting. We have Umbra, our darkness guy. Shadow travel. Move 2 hexes left or right. Pay the cost of the destination hex. And then it says place Ember on any hex within 2 hexes. Do not change Ember's spacing. Pay the cost of the final hex. Interesting. So yeah, you just can move around a bunch more. And then our last driver is Clonus, who has Alien Metamorphosis. So his abilities cost 3 and 4 instead of the 2 and 3 like everybody else. So it's copying other players' upper ability or copying other players' lower ability. So a little bit more, but it gives him the option to do so much more stuff. So I'm not going to go over it too much in here. But what is nice is in the book here, we're going to zoom back out for a moment. I'm going to set these guys off to the side. As we look at the book here, so we have racer guides. We have Belladonna. Gives you a little bit brief description, re-explains her powers in a little bit more, allows her to spend 2 coins to drift 1 extra time per turn. She also pay the terrain cost of the MP of wherever hex she is driving to do this battle. Also gives her a super drift. That has some FAQs for some of them, like can she drift through other racers? Does she suffer terrain penalties? Yes, she does. Then they also show the actual how the ability works. It's just kind of neat. And they have that for each one. So it's like Gorgana doing her thing. Attila doing his, for example. Some FAQs for each one. I'm not going to show off each one of them. So they're showing Umbras, like he can either drift like that, or he can move within any of those spaces. But that's really neat. Yeah, they're showing off how they get to work their abilities. So that's really fun there. We also have some of the goal ones. Alright, then with the silver tier, which also got us our extra car, or Kart dashboard, we got 2 new racers. We got Lady Vic, and Cerebellus. We're actually going to get their tokens, plus we get 2 extra books just to help out, you know. There's some extra books in there as well, which is fun. Now, we only got that 1 extra car, so technically if you got silver, if you really wanted to, you could possibly play up to 9, but there's no spot in the 1st to 2nd place on the leaderboard, or on the racing board for 9 players. So basically it'd be 8 players, and the 9th player would just not exist. Alright, so we have Lady Vic here. A little bit darker picture there. But she has Cunning Reposition. Pay to move backwards 1 hex per 0 MP. So interesting, so she can kind of like back up a little bit. Or reduce the current MP to 0. Do not reduce speed for terrain crosses turn. Interesting. So her idea, it looks like, is she can you know, back up a little bit quicker so she can maneuver around a little bit more. Yeah, so she can, like, you know, she's coming up to a sharp turn, she can also just drop her MP down to 0. She, you know, but she doesn't have to reduce her cost. So she has 9 movement points, she can take 6 and then just drop it to 0. And then that way she doesn't have to, like, force herself into a wall or something. Our other silver tier character is the big giant brain here, Cerebellus, who has brain power, so she did 1 turn for 1 MP. It says, after going over a spell hex, take 3 books. At the end of the round, draw 3 and then discard 2. So that's kind of neat. So he gets to have, and that's why they probably included them extra 2 books in the pack, because that way you're not running out. Yeah, in fact, he gets some options on what he wants. He still only gets 1 spell, but he gets a choice of 3. They do have the little rule sheet here. which talks about the extra rules for that set, but we do have extra ability, showing off their abilities as well, which is very helpful. Then if you got the gold tier, which had everything, we got 2 more racers. We got, which again, they come with their 2 discs as well. We got Calabez, who has Strangling Vines. Drift 1 for paying its hex cost, or moving adjacent racer or hazard 1 hex in any direction. Oh, that's neat. Getting to move guys around, but also getting to move hazards is really fun. Then our last character is Brotherwise, which is like the created character, kind of based on or designed around the 2 brothers. I wonder if it's different on either side. Nope, it's the same racer head. Thought maybe they might have had like, I did, it's only 1-sided sticker. Should have like 1 leaning forward a little bit more. Double Persosity. So he gets 1 turn for 1 MP. Discard your spell card. Draw a spell card 1 level higher than the discarded one. So if you had an A, you get a B. Have a B, you get a C. This is kind of cool because that means, 1, you get to shuffle your spell. I don't really like this, or it's not super useful to me right now. You get an option of getting a different spell card, but it also means your higher ranking, you can potentially get a better spell card because the C's are better than A's generally. They do a little bit more damage because it's supposed to help for making comeback. So there are all our different racers. So I think next we're going to do is we're going to look at the spell cards, look at spells, and then we'll jump into the, looking at all the different hazard tokens and stuff. We'll do the tracks last. So let's jump into our spell cards quick. Alright, so they're going to have a little picture of a spell book with a magical block around it. We have A's. We have the Fireball. So anyone, regardless of what spell group they're in, are going to do the exact same thing. So we have Fireball says target the nearest racer in front of you, they crash. We have 3 copies of the bomb. So this place a bomb directly behind your racer. At the end of your round, if this or a racer hits the bomb, it blows up. That and all adjacent racers take 1. So we're going to get a bunch of bomb tokens. I think we have 6 of them. Yeah, so you get these double-sided bomb tokens. You got them. They're green to show that they're not regular hazards. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So it just goes behind you, either hits someone directly, or it blows up and takes out everybody. We have 3 copies of Firebolt. Shoot the Firebolt in a straight line directly in front of you. The Firebolt travels until it hits a car or a hazard or a wall. If the Firebolt hits a cart, it crashes. If it hits a hazard, the hazard is destroyed. So basically using this to remove things in front of you. We have 4 copies of Payday, which gets you 2 coins. So that can be very helpful. And then in the last of A, we have 5 copies of Zombies. So this will get us zombie tokens. So this places a zombie directly behind you. If a racer hits it, they spin out. You may discard this to prevent a fireball or firebolt from affecting you. So this is basically like the banana of the kart racing game. You drop this behind you, someone hits it, it's going to mess them up. But you can also use it to block something behind you. And the firebolt was kind of like the turtle shell almost. Because it goes straight and it hits whatever. And then the fireball, a little bit more powerful, is almost like that red shell. Like it shoots and it targets something. For spell B, we have 3 copies of Caving. Target the racer currently in the lead. That racer and any adjacent to them crash. Any hazards adjacent to the leader are destroyed. Yeah, so it's pretty devastating. We have 3 copies of Haste. It says move 3 hexes forward in a straight line, ignoring MP and terrain you cross over. Do not ignore walls or hazards. Yeah, a little bit of a speed boost, but you gotta use this very carefully. We get 2 more Firebolts, which we already know what they do. We have 1 Rage, which is our superstar. Gain 3 MP, ignore all hazards, and treat all terrain cross the roads as roads. Spin out any racers and destroy any hazards you move through. Cannot be crashed or spun out for the rest of this round. You have to use it at the start of your turn, and you can plan to basically just run through everything. We have 2 copies of Sabotage. For every racer ahead of you or tied with you, spin out. For the rest of the round, racers may not use their boss powers. We have 3 bombs, so you get a bunch more bombs. And we have 2 more fireballs. So we're getting more fireballs as we go along. Then in Group C, we are going to get 4 more rages. So again, as you're getting towards the end, you're going to get a bunch of these rages to help you out. We have 4 copies of Teleport. Change your total MP to 12. Move directly to and then follow from the racing line until your MP runs out. This turn you have unlimited free turns, ignoring terrain, hazards, coins, carts, and spell hexes, and you may not use boss powers. So basically what this is saying is you have 12 points, just move 12 spaces, ignoring everything in your way, however you need to get there. So you're essentially teleporting from space 1 to 12 spaces away, but they're just telling you, like, not just pick a space, it's 12 spaces away and go there. We have 2 copies of Haste, which you're seeing. We have 1 more Sabotage, and then the last, oh, nope, sorry, not the last one. We have 3 copies of Fear. Complete the set speed stat in additional time, then reduce the speed setting of all races ahead of you or tied with you by 1. So this will help you gain a little bit of advantage. And then the last 2 cards are Freeze. All racers in front of you crash. Racers beside you do not increase their speed values at the beginning of their turn this round. And it says, you can flip the freeze token to track this. So we get a big giant freeze token, so no speed increase or it's turned off. So you guys can flip this up to show that no one gets to increase their speeds. Freezes everyone on the board. So again, if this is like a thing, this is probably like the lightning bolt of the game. Again, with the rule book, this is actually a really fun thing I love about this rule book here. So if we go into the spell zone, we have like zombie attack. Can you drop a zombie directly on top of someone? Yes, you can. But they're showing like how that works. Same thing with the bomb, showing how a bomb blows up. A firebolt, coins, most of them make sense. A little bit just better descriptions if you need them. Sabotage, rage, freeze, showing all that stuff. There's teleport. So it's showing like how teleport works there is you basically get to move your guy 12 hexes. Not point wise, but just however you need to move them. And reorientate them when you want, turn around corners, all that stuff. So that's pretty fun as well there. So those are all our spells. So up next, let's look at some of our hazards. And what they all do. We have a bunch of different ones. So I'm going to drop these down. We're going to look at our first one. We have these Fang Roots. So it says, if a racer enters a hex with a Fang Root, they immediately crash. If a racer ends their movement in a hex adjacent to Fang Root, they spin out. Adjacency is not measured through walls. So I'll scooch this over, actually hold that text up. So basically they get near this thing, either they crash or they spin out. We've seen what the bombs do. Because we know they're green, but they're technically still hazards. We do have lava puddles we can add down. If you hit a lava puddle, crash and lose 1 coin. Do not remove the lava puddle. So basically, this lets you put lava in areas other than the outside lava zones. We have the Smashinator token. It says if a racer enters a hex of the Smashinator, my book's tipping over here just a sec. With a smash nair, immediately roll the smash die. And a result of a crash, the racer crashes. On a result of a spin, they spin out. A result of 1 or 2 coins, they gain that many coins. And they continue their movement if they have any MP left. So then, yeah, here's our smash nair, guys. So there's our spin out. It's like halfway down. Coin, double coins. There's the full one, which shows the crash. It went all the way down, so it hit you completely. So I think there's 2 spin outs, 2 regular coins, a crash, and a die. So that's kind of fun that they did that. We have tar pits. Of course, because I'm just trying to randomly grab these. Am I going to find a tar pit? Nope. You can see what it looks like on the picture, though, there. So there's our tar pit. Let me scooch it to this side so we can look at the rule at the same time. Racer entering a pit with a tar pit. They immediately end their movement and reduce their speed by 1 setting. There's no terrain penalty for driving through a tar pit. Just slows them down. We have graveyards. The graveyard smash. Gravestone acts as an obstacle you cannot enter its hex. It's just a black border around it. So kind of like the lava, which adds a deadly thing, this just adds a immovable, impassable thing. We have the boost. I love that this is kind of a good one. You hit a boost, immediately roll the boost die and travel that many hexes forward in a straight line. In the direction the card is facing. This may result in your racer colliding with an obstacle or hazard. If you would end your move with a hex with another racer, you will instead crash. Do not remove the boost. So it's like one of the few ones that stays on the table. And then we have the boost die. We have 1 hex, a 2 hex, a 2 hex, and a 1 hex. Otherwise, we have a 4 hex and a 3 hex. So yeah, you might think, oh, booster always really good. It just kind of depends on where it lands. And that's the fun thing. You can either, again, plan your board out and set things in certain areas. So maybe they're really beneficial to hit. Maybe there's really good boosts on straight stretches. Or you could have them potentially just randomly draw them again, and they might end up being very bad. We have the zombie, which we saw before. If a racer enters a hex with a zombie, they spin out. Then they remove the zombie. Zombies do not go in the hazard bag. Same thing with the bombs. Then the last main one we have are just generic heroes. If a racer ever enters a hex with a hero, they immediately crash and the hero is removed from the board. Because of course there's a dungeon. Hey, we're just bad guys trying to have a race, and the heroes are like, nah, we're not doing that. Then we have a bunch of hexes or tiles, not hexes, tiles for each one of the different epic classes. And then again, if you play boss monster, you know you have regular heroes that come in, and then you have epic ones. And they're each going to have their own little tile with the little helmet symbol. So there's all of those. I think I'm still missing a few. They're probably still stuck in my tray over here. Yep, we got another one there. There are quite a few of them. But each one of these guys has an additional effect. We got, I'm just gonna put the tokens up, then we'll look at the cards, because the cards all show all their pictures. Oops, we got that girl. I think that is all of them other than the princess, which we saw earlier in the video. So there's that. Alright, so let's take a look at what all of their effects do. We'll move this back to the center. That's fine. We have a druid, which we saw earlier. The druid says, zoom in on this and get some focus. Place a grass token underneath the druid, and all 6 adjacent hexes. If the racer hits a druid, they crash and remove the text. So we are going to get 7 of these tiles. They're double-sided. So they're just going to change the terrain all around them into double hexes, which again, could be very good for you, could be very bad for you. Just kind of depends on what was there. If it was road, now it's harder. But if it was water, it's a little bit easier. So it just kind of depends on what you end up landing on. And I love that they show the picture of that up there as a reminder what it is. We have the fighter. At the end of each round, the fighter moves 2 hexes directly towards the closest racer in her tile. Racer hits the fighter, they crash in there, then removed. So rather than just a regular hero that just stands there waiting to get hit, this guy actively seeks you out. The Pharaoh. Place a Smashinator on top of every coin in the Pharaoh's tile. If a racer hits the Pharaoh, they crash and then remove the Pharaoh. Even then, the Crushinators all stay. So now they're making the coins harder to get. We have the Cleric. Place a regular hero in every coin tile in the Cleric's tile. Racer hits the Cleric, they crash in there, then removed. The Necromancer. Place a zombie on top of every item box and coin in the Necromancer's tile. If a racer hits a Necromancer, they crash and then remove. Item box being a spell book, just interchangeable terms. The Sorcerer. Replace every other hazard in a mage's tile with a crystal obstacle. If a racer hits the Sorcerer, they remove the Sorcerer. So we do get 4 different crystals. So there must not be more than 4 on any tile. Other than the one he's on, so that could potentially be 5 on a tile. Yeah, it just adds barriers in there, which is kind of cool. Samurai. At the end of their turn, if the racer passed within 1 hex of the Samurai, they spin out. If the racer hits the Samurai, they crash and the Samurai is removed. The Pirate. Place a coin in each hex adjacent to the Pirate. These hexes are now coin hexes. If a racer enters them, they receive a coin, without removing the coin on the hex. If the racer hits a pirate, they crash and now remove them. So basically initially I thought about like, if there's hexes on the board to have coins, you want to just place all the coins on there and someone runs over. Because every time anyone runs over, they're going to pick them up. You constantly be replacing them on the board. And that kind of goes with this as well. We have the Sword Mage. Whenever a racer ends its turn in the Sword Mage's tile, they must move 2 hexes in the direction they're facing. If a racer hits the Sword Mage, they remove them. Interesting. We have the Shinobi. Place a random face-down smoke bomb in each adjacent hex to the ninja. When a cart enters a hex of the smoke bomb, reveal it and discard it. If it's in a Shinobi, they remove it. So we get 6 different tiles for them. We have a blank one, a double coin, a spellbook, a blank one, a zombie, and a coin. So 2 of them don't do anything, so that's not bad. 2 of them give you coins, which is very beneficial. Spellbook may or may not be helpful if you need it, and then there's 1 bad zombie. That's kind of interesting. I guess the other thing you could also do if you really want to make that more interesting is, I don't know how you would do it. Say you could always just have the smoke tokens down, and then whenever you get it, randomly draw a hazard from the bag. And then if it's not a coin or that, instead of just being the zombie or the blank one, could be interesting. And then finally we have the Princess. Whenever a racer ends their turn in the Princess's hex or their tile, they move 1 hex closer to the Princess. If they hit her, they crash and it is removed. And then like everybody else, they have all the little book that explains how all this stuff works, which is very nice. Having this extra guide that does that. Like here we go. Are the terrain icons on the smoke bombs considered when moving into them? Yes. Players can move the smoke bomb anytime to see what is under the track, but can't look at the smoke bomb's face. And then like crystal tokens. No racer can enter a hex with a crystal token, and it is not a hazard. Yeah, so I love that they add all that extra little stuff in there. So we went over all of the racers, all of that stuff. So the last thing we gotta go through are the tiles. And some of that stuff. So we have tiles and have some different effects on them. The only other thing I did want to look at, just as a reiteration from the first video, is we didn't look at them too much, is we do have our, let me move these here. We have our racing racing tiles here, just for look at the actual map. You know, for first, second, and third, you can flip it over, adds fourth place in there. Then we have one here that adds up to fifth place. If you want to play up to 5 players, flip that over for a 6th place game. Then we have the one that snaps together to give us up to 7th place. And then the other side on that one is up to 8th place. So yeah, you can play up to 8-player game. Could also potentially do, if you want to play a higher count, you could always go like, let's say, you start with 8 players. You can always play the 7 tile, and then whoever's in 8th is eliminated. Then you play another game. Now whoever's in 6th place is eliminated. Or maybe each time drop it down by 2. Maybe you start with 8 players, and then whoever's in, but actually only play the board that is up to 6th player, right? Then, whoever's in 7th and 8th are eliminated from the next game. And then the next game you drop it from 6 down to 4, right? So, alright, so game 2 now, whoever's in 5th and 6th are automatically out. Now you're just playing a 4-player game. And then, that's game 2. And then, yeah, see who wins out of the last 4 players for the last game. That might be interesting as well. They also have this extra finisher line, which you can use that. Or you can always use the 3D one they also have in there as well, if you like that cool thing. In case you want to have your finish line end somewhere than having it wrap all the way around. So you could make a big, giant, long, stretchy tile that doesn't have, that has different things. You might have some crossroad tiles or some things that might spark off into multiple directions that maybe lead back to each other. Maybe they don't. Maybe one's a dead end. So maybe you're just going to avoid, hey, that side doesn't actually exist. Yeah, so it lets you have a little bit of play around there. The last thing we didn't look at for tokens in here were we have, of course, our spellbook tokens. So you collect our first player token, all our coins, of course. We have all our different coins as well. Also, with the coins, though, if you got the higher tier, and these are probably available separate, you can buy the metal coins as well. So yes, these are solid metal coins, not probably gold, they're just probably gold painted. But yeah, they're little extra metal coins you can get there, basically the same exact size. Even thickness are about the same. Just if you wanted a metal coin instead of cardboard. They definitely look kind of cool. They have little scratches and stuff on there. There's the same amount. There's 40 in this bag. And again, they might be sold separately. I just can't promise that. And then I didn't show off with the races. We did have the Ghost Kart. Just like I have it upside down. Which is kind of funny. Yeah, this just takes place when you're trying to move around on the board. You can use this as taking place of that. Alright, so that's all we have for those. We also have our reference book here, again, which shows all of our different symbols, and on the inside it does show our hazards as well, just as a reminder. So we just gotta look at the tiles. I think I'm gonna do is we're actually gonna come back. We're gonna do a part 3 with just the tiles, because there's a lot of different stuff to look at on them. And I don't want to condense it up too much. Alright, so see you guys in part 3. Bye.